Hi, I'm Kishwar and I'm back in the kitchen with Bengal meat. Today I'm going to share a very special recipe with you, my Kashi Rezala. So I very conveniently have a kilo of the mutton Rezala cut from Bengal meat. It's very convenient. Apart from that, you can use any sort of mutton that's a bone in. And luckily for us, Bengal does kachi cuts, Rezala cuts, and all sorts of cuts that are specific to recipes. So I'm going to use the Rezala mutton cut for this mutton Rezala. The very first step to making the perfect Kashi Rezala is to marinate for at least 24 hours. For this marinade, I'm going to take ginger and garlic paste and yogurt. This has been marinating for at least 6 hours. The second part to a fantastic Rezala is the second marinade. এখন আমি কিছু গুঁড়া মশলা use করব আর বেরেস্তা to marinate it again. For my second marinade, I'm using a little bit of coriander powder. This is Bengal's nitto ground roasted spices and they're ready to use, which is what I love. I don't need to roast them any further myself. Gura morichar powder. And I also like to use fried onions or bereshta to marinate it a second time. At this point, we're going to add a little bit of seasoning. So now it's back in the fridge for another 6 to 8 hours. So Kashi Rezala is a really rich, hearty dish. It's also an ancient recipe that was brought into Bengal by the Mughals. So it's something that's enjoyed really during the winters or over a celebration. আমি ঘি দিয়ে রান্না করার সময় সবসময় একটু তেল ইউজ করি at the bottom of the pan, just so I'm not burning my clarified butter. For traditional recipes and all of these Mughlai type recipes, I like using whole spices. I think it adds a lot to the dish and it keeps all the spices in their original form. So here I have some cloves, which is long, cinnamon of course, because this is a very warm dish. So I'm going to add quite a bit of cinnamon, elaichi or cardamom. So I'm looking for about 4 to 6 cloves. I like using whole peppercorns. So once you can smell all the spices roasting, add some of your bay leaves and then start browning your onions. So a chef's tip when we're making these very traditional hearty recipes like Kashi Rezala, get a really nice caramelization on your onions. This makes the base of the gravy and the sauce. এই সময় একটু আস্তে আছে পেঁয়াজটা ভালো করে ভেজে নেওয়াতে you're going to create a really deep, rich gravy and that takes time. So take some time. This is the type of recipe you want to set aside for a day, not only for the marination, but also for the slow process of cooking. I like to use chopped onions. I think it gives a lot of texture to the gravy, and I also like to use finely chopped ginger as well. To get your onions to brown is to always add a spoonful of sugar and salt. You can really smell the aroma of the ghee and the whole spices coming out of this pan, and the onions are looking nice and caramelized. It's time to add my meat. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit more chili powder, only because I like it spicy. And I'm going to add some sweetness at the end, and a little bit more dhania. Once the meat is browned, and you finally add the liquid, make sure that the meat is mostly covered. We're going to thicken this at the end with a nut paste, so don't be afraid to have a little extra liquid in the pan. I'm going to add a little bit more bereshta at this point, which is fried onions, and let this simmer for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Just put some fried onions in there. I'm going to add a few whole chilies I'm not gonna slice them. I want these chilies to just add a lot of fragrance with adding no heat whatsoever. At this point, you place the lid on it and you walk away for the next hour or so. So it's been about an hour. My whole kitchen, in fact, my whole house smells so wonderful. It smells like warm spices, ghee, and that beautifully slow cooked, warm kashi rezala, which is what everyone's house should smell like every day. To finish this off, I'm gonna add a little bit of sweet and a little bit of tartness from lemon. I don't like to use sugar. অনেকজন কাশি রেজালাতে শেষে একটু চিনি আর লেবু দেয়, কিন্তু আমি ওই সুইটনেসটা ড্রাইড ফ্রুট দিয়ে আনার চেষ্টা করি। So I'm gonna add some sultanas. And the final step, ঝোলটা একটু থিকেন করার জন্য আমি একটা কাজু বাদামের পেস্ট চুজ করছি। You can add pistachio paste or almond paste, but cashews give it that real buttery, nutty thickness that a good, rich rezala really asks for. My kashi rezala is done. If you want to take it to the next level, wait till it cools down a little bit and comes to just above room temperature, and you can add some rose water and keora. Keora is basically a pandang extract. Golab jol ar iktu keora dile, this becomes a very, very rich, nostalgic dish that you'll find in any biye bari across Bangladesh. Smells brilliant, it's ready to serve.